Hi Dharni, how are you?
Hi Rakesh, I'm doing good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. So can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Dharni. I'm from Coimbatore. So I have been into the software testing field for more than 3 years. So I'm currently working at Tech Mahindra, Coimbatore. So I was working in a project called Rogers. It's a telecommunication-based domain project, and I have experience on both manual and automation testing. So manual, coming to manual part, like I have been involved in all the functional testing part, and I've been handling all the testing execution activities and also test cases preparation, test data preparations, and also all the testing documents, whatever required, like test plan. I was also involved in test plan partially, not completely. So test plan and then use case document, test case document, and also like preparing RTM and updating the status over there. And also like coming to automation part, I'm using IntelliJ IDE as my for my automation purposes, and working on Agile project. So we are completely automating all the regression cases, so not the functional part. So regression, I have involved fully in automation part. So what my role is on, like I've been involved in all the execution and also maintaining the codes and developing the codes whenever required, depending upon the release. And we usually like move the test cases from functional to manual regression and then automation regression to have like all the prerequisites ready for the automation. So we do in that kind of way. So, and then like I have also the basic knowledge of SQL queries. So in my project, I'm also using the DB connections as well to like test end to end from an application. So it's a basically a telecommunication application. So in front end, I'm validating all the e-commerce kind of site application, like however customer are purchasing their products and all. And end of the thing, I'll be doing the DB validation. And in manual testing, as I said, fully I was involved in functional, and we are following Scrum methodology here. So I was involved in all the Scrum meetings, daily Scrum meetings with the Scrum Master, and starting from the sprint, like from sprint planning to the sprint review and retrospective meeting, completely like testing team will be involved on the whole. So that's all about myself.
Okay, wonderful. So in your resume, it is mentioned that you have received a Tech M Shine Award for the best team member. So can you
Yeah.
explain? Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, like this award will be given once in a while, like between like 6 months of duration. So that will be picked up on each team member who were performing well on their team. So recently, like I have switched from manual to automation by learning. They have provided me training for the automation skills also. So by then I have learned and moved to automation. So I'm still in learning phase, but I'm exploring more on automation. And now I have the capability like to automate new cases also. Before then I was doing only maintenance purpose. So then I'm also developing scripts. So by performance they have awarded me that.
Okay, great. Now, what do you mean by multiple inheritance? And is it possible to perform multiple inheritance in Java?
So in Java, so it's not possible. So we use interface in the sense like to perform multiple inheritance.
So this is not possible. That's what you are telling, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do you know about yield method?
Can you come again?
Yeah, what do you know about yield method?
Yield matching.
Yeah, yield method that is used in thread class.
No, I'm coming about to know now only. I'm not sure.
Okay, no issues. So yield method is a static method that is a part of that is a method of thread class itself, and it is used to stop the currently executing thread, and it will give the chance to other waiting threads of the same priority. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So this is what yield method will do. Okay. Now, which are the various map interfaces those are available in Java?
Map interfaces, we have a hash map, linked hash map, and tree map. So that's a non-collection part of Java.
Right. So what is the difference between tree map and hash map?
So tree map, it will like perform in natural sorting order. So hash map, like it won't follow. So we can insert duplication also. So insertion order will not be maintained there. So map will also always be, I mean, the data will be in form of entry set. So we have a key and value there. So that's main difference is like it will store in natural sorting. So it won't have a heterogeneous object. So only generic type of data type will be stored.
Okay. What do you know about sorted map?
Sorted map. Sorted map, this tree map will be coming into the category of sorted and navigable set of, I mean, sorted and navigable map. So other than that, we have hash map and link hash map on the other set, non-sorted map.
Now, let's say if I have to, uh, let me give you one example first. So before that, can you tell me which are the various ways to handle exceptions in Java?
Exceptions we can handle by throws and finally blocks. So, and try catch blocks. So these are the ways to handle exceptions.
Mhm. Now consider there is a string with your name. Okay. Now we have to find out the number of characters in your string. So how will you write a Java program for that? Let's say you can take a
So number
string
of
of your name itself. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So number of characters, we have a function called length. So string dot whatever string name dot length, we can get the number of characters.
Okay. So based on length, you would be able to find out the number of characters.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what if I want to reverse this particular string? Like your name, Dharni, is stored in one particular string. Now, how will you reverse this particular string?
So we have string buffers. So there is a dedicated method called string reverse for that. So we can use it.
String buffer you would use. So, what is the difference between string buffer and string builder?
So string is like a immutable one, but string buffer is a mutable one. It will be changing upon, like it will keep the track of information that was recently changed. So that's the major difference between these two.
Okay. Now, consider a scenario that you were testing one web-based application, right? So today is Sunday, and it is working fine. And apart from you, there are other 5,000 users that have been using this application, this product, right? Now, tomorrow, when you come to the office, you see that this website has got some slowness issue, right? When you're navigating from one page to say another page, it is taking a lot of time. Right? So, how will you
Okay.
debug this scenario? How will you go for the root cause analysis?
So first of all, like it's similar to performance testing, like how many users are using, and at a time, like if multiple users test that, this might have happened. So for delay in loading, like we can, I'll explore it first. So what is the root cause? So then if I found I think it's all depending upon non-functionality testing.
Hmm.
So completely will do that.
Okay. But what do you think? What could have happened that has made the site very slow?
Obviously, it's due to multiple user accessing only. So, but on the next day, I'm not sure what it will be. Like on the time, if you are testing, it might cause this slowness in a web application. But next day, uh, not sure. Maybe we can check on how many users they have accessed yesterday, and we can do a performance testing majorly.
Hmm. So consider the situation that on Sunday, as today, 5,000 users are using it. So tomorrow also same number of users are only using it. Then what do you think? What will be
Okay.
the, yeah?
I'm not sure. Can you explain it to me?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So see, generally what happens in such scenarios is, uh, let's say the developers would have checked in some code, and in that they would have kept some image kind of thing that would be taking the time to load, right? Those would be the new things, right? So those new images they would have not not resolved to the minimum compatibility, and still they would have checked in their code. So because of which, what would happen actually on the next day,
Okay.
your website would be getting slow. Or consider one more scenario over here, that they would have introduced some JavaScript query or some scripting code which might not be compatible with the browser in which you are testing, right? So which is why
Okay.
the website is getting slow.
Mm.
One more scenario over here can be that they would have introduced some SQL based query, and consider that query is compatible with only, for example, 10,000 records. But based on the new code that they have written, they have to now make sure that those queries working with the 10,500 records. But that SQL query is not compatible as of now. So, which is why
Okay.
those stored procedure or those queries are not getting triggered, and that is why the performance of the website is getting affected. Okay.
So we
One
have
more
to do all performance compatibility too, right?
compatibility, or this is how you can find to have a word with the dev
Okay.
leads or team leads, team managers, and you can try to, you know, dig down and you can try to find out the root cause of the issue. Definitely, it won't
Okay.
be find out 100. It cannot be found out 100% from a tester's perspective. You will be coordinating with the development team, and then you both would be coming to one particular page or one particular conclusion, right?
Yeah.
Now over here, hmm, let me change this question now. Now consider this particular website you were able to access in a computer, in a laptop. But when you open it in a mobile phone, then this website is not getting open. So what can be the issues in this website?
I think it's similar. So it's because of compatibility only. So firstly, every web application will go through this kind of testing. So like if it is suitable for all the multi browsers and multiple devices. So that's the first thing that they will do when they are at kind of testing. So similar to whatever you said, like because of some changes happened in the build side. So that might be the reason. So we will do compatible testing.
Okay. Now you are working in an automation team, right? So can you tell us something about the automation framework that you are working on?
Yeah, so I'm using a TestNG framework. So like whatever the test data we have it in a separate Excel sheet, and we will, get that stored in the Excel sheet. Get the input files that are stored in separate data and stored in form of variables in whatever we are having the script. So majorly, like we can have multiple inputs by testing a single test case. So that's the major advantage of this, and also like we can perform all the positive and negative test data with the help of test data. We can also do that. And like we do have YAML files also inside our IDE. So that can also fetch the data inside whatever files we have. And we are integrating both like data driven and also this YAML file. So we are using that kind of.
So you were telling something about this YAML file, right? So are you using Swagger?
Yeah. No, I'm not sure.
No, generally this Swagger is a tool with the help of which you will be integrating it as a help document along with your product, and then the client or customer can play with the APIs using Swagger document itself. So they don't have to explicitly declare the request or
Okay.
the get put kind of methods. They can just enter the parameters; those will be considered as a request, and they just have to click on the send button, and automatically the response will be coming up. So are you using Swagger?
Okay.
How do you
No,
run your
we are not using.
Okay. How do you run your automation? How do you trigger your automation?
So you mean like how I learned?
No, no. How will you run your automation? Let's say tomorrow,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, the build or the new release is going to get deployed at 11 p.m. at the night. So it is not possible for each and every team member to be there, right, at 11 p.m. So how will you trigger your automation? How will you run your automation?
Yeah, so we are using Jenkins CI/CD tools so that we will trigger the automation run. So we are not going on locally and running there. So for some kind of debugging purposes, we are using this. Other than that, we are using Jenkins Gateway to run the automation.
Fine. Now, can you write a code? So you have joined from laptop, right?
No, mobile.
Mobile. Okay, now tell me the code from a, just on a high level logic point of view. Let's say via Jenkins, I am triggering the automation. In that automation, out of 10 test cases, 8 test cases are getting passed, 2 test cases are getting failed. Now, those 2 test cases which are getting failed, I want to mark them as failed test case in my test cycle in Jira. So, how will you write a code to achieve this thing?
Okay, so TestNG framework itself will has all the kind of possibility, like what if a test case got failed or skipped, what is to be performed. So we have listeners to perform that. So basically for failed test cases, especially we can use ID try analyzer and I annotation transformer. So that type of listeners, and we can write if the fail count is this much and what our limit, so what has to be performed. So we can use these two types, and we also have like fail.xml file, so we can run through that, or these two listeners we can use.
Mhm. Okay. So, let's say via TestNG, you are able to segregate which test cases have got failed and which test cases have got passed. Now, let's move to the next level. Now, those 2 failed test cases, is it possible to get it marked in Jira? Like those are getting failed.
Yeah, we have an integration to have the status updated in Jira. So like
Yes.
while running itself in the Jenkins, we have a thread count, how many it has to be performed, and also the test environment and Jira ID, so where it has to be updated. So we have an integration with Jira.
Right, right. So can you tell me more on that in Jira integration? How have you integrated your code in such a way that the Jira is getting updated, the test case in Jira is getting updated?
Okay, so I was not involved in developing that framework, so I just know like how we do. So basically, we have a Gradle properties, property file in our so that we have all the environment information and all the, I mean, prerequisite information, whatever we have. So in that itself, we will be providing the input of the Jira ID for separately for the each cases, and then we will trigger it from the Jenkins through built-in parameters. So how many count it has to perform and what are the test case depending upon the class by class, or it has to be done as a group or not. So then we'll be entering the Jira ID also over there. So if we trigger it, it will automatically go and I mean paste whatever the status that we get. If it is failed, also it will fail the cases. So that's how it's working.
So what you can do is, let's say if this interview is asked, if this question is asked in a real-time interview. So basically you have to tell that how this integration happened. Even though you didn't develop this code, you were not involved in the development, but you have to understand, get an understanding from the team leads or other team members who have developed this code. Once you tell these things in an interview, it would be quite useful. Now, what they would have done in the Jira
Okay.
integration, yeah, I'll tell you on a high level what they would have done. They would have used some credentials, which using which you would be updating the test case, right? So one Jira account is necessary,
Mhm.
username, password. Then they will be using some auth token for authorization, right? So every time your auth token will be
Okay.
authorizing, your authentication would be done that yes, this particular user is going to validate, sorry, update the test case in Jira, right? Then what they would be doing is, based on every run, they would be updating, so there will be if condition. So it is again, this is achievable via various programming things, but I'm just telling you on a high level, there will be if condition. So if the test case has passed, you would be marking them as a pass based on the auth token, or using the auth, using the user which you have used, user
Okay.
credentials which you have used in there, and else it would be updating as a fail. Now, many companies, they are creating this test cases in the test cycle itself, right? So how will you get these test
Okay.
cycles in Jira? Which is now to get, in order to get these test cycles in Jira, you will have to integrate this Jira with a Zephyr kind of a plugin. So there is a Zephyr plugin which comes,
Yeah.
and that you can integrate with Jira itself, and using Zephyr you can update this test status. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, and again again with respect to this, there will be kind of a private key and public key kind of. I'm not exactly remembering that key name, but one is private key for sure, and one is default key or public key, which would be there in your account itself. So if you have used Jira, so within your user profile there will be two keys available to you. So those keys you need to provide in this code itself, in this IDE, in Eclipse or IntelliJ
Okay.
code, whichever you are writing, and those would be used as a kind of again authorization authentication.
Okay, sure.
So this is how you will be doing Jira integration with Selenium itself. Okay. Now, what is operator overloading?
So operator, I mean, operator or method?
Hmm. In Java, what is operator overloading in Java?
Operator overloading, I'm not sure actually. What I'm aware is only method overloading.
Okay, so let this be an open question for the people who are watching this video. What is operator overloading in Java? So this will be okay. Now, can you tell me a high level, logic of a Java program? How will you reverse a linked list using temporary variables?
Linked list. Okay, so reverse, we can use, I mean, for printing all the list, we use iterators, and also we can use for our while. So we can use while using iterator. So while the list dot name has previous, so and then we will use dot previous, whatever the variable name dot previous. So it will print the whole list in reverse. So, like I guess it's tree map. Yeah, sorry, tree set. We have a descending set dedicatedly for this. For linked list, we don't have any dedicated one, so we use iterator and previous method.
Okay, so you will be using iterator.
Yeah.
Do you have knowledge on data structures?
Not that much.
Right. Because see, when you will be going for interviews at say Netflix or Amazon for SDET purpose, as you have already got a training, I
Okay.
saw in your CV, and you are also mentioning you got a training, right? So they will be asking you questions on data structures, right? So
Okay.
those, yeah. So at that time, you might get a question like, let's say if you have to store some passwords, then which data structure will you use, right? So such kind of real-time interview questions are generally asked in these companies, Netflix, Amazon, Microsoft, Google. If you're going for interviews over there for basically for automation or SDETs kind of
Okay.
things you can expect over there. Right. Now you have experience on both Agile Scrum as well as waterfall methodology,
Yeah.
and you are using HP ALM tool as well. Okay, so can you tell us something about this ALM tool?
So ALM, like currently I'm using Jira only. So ALM, like for 6 months I was using ALM.
Hmm.
So now we are not using that currently. So when I was in waterfall project, so they have this ALM to update about tracking.
In your resume, it is mentioned that you are responsible for performing daily sanity testing. Okay. So can you tell me more on this?
Yeah, so we have like for sanity test, we have a subset of regression cases to perform that. So in my suite, we have like more than 140 cases on my regression suite. So in that, we picked up 20 cases for our daily sanity. What are the basic flows that we are doing? So as I said, we will be trigger it in Jenkins on daily basis, like how much count we need to do and what if got fail and what we have to rerun or not. So then and I'll be sending on the report based upon execution. So we might also have a environment issue or an actual functional defect we might have. So if we found any defect, I'll be like finding up the defect parallelly and updating the status also on the mail that that I'm sending as a sanity email. So on regular basis, I'm doing the sanity cases. So we have a subset for that.
Can you tell me the high level test scenarios for a Google Map application?
So, okay, Google Maps. So first thing is like obviously the source and destination, so that we are going. So that has to be pick up the exact place that the customer is on. So in destination, it has to locate whatever they are giving. So and then direction wise, so we opt out for direction. So it has to it has to give the proper roadmap of whatever they are going to where they are going. So if on left or right. So that proper roadmap direction, and then the voice, vocal voice that is picking up. So depending upon the integrated one of direction, the vocal voice has to speak up the proper direction wise. And reaching the destination, if it's like a few miles apart, few kilometers apart, so then it has to indicate the customer like we are going to reach the destination. So and then and also reversing the destination, like my location to the destination. So that kind of reverse activities it has to perform. And also in kind of any traffic related things, it has to indicate the customer like there is a traffic over whichever route they are going. And if it is a shortcut place, the shortcut has to be displayed. So yeah, and also the recent visited places. So if the history will be stored upon the recent visited places, so that history also we can run.
This is good. Okay, Dharni, I'm done with the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, obviously my feedback.
Yeah, so feedback, I think from the manual testing perspective, it is really good. From automation side, you have to uh, get some more knowledge on data structures, operator overloading in Java. Then I asked you one question on yield method maps, right? So those map, pre-map, hash map,
Yeah.
right? So those things you have to take care. Otherwise, I think the rest of the things are good.
Okay.
And when you are introducing yourself, make sure that you include one or two statements on your certifications as well and awards. So whichever certifications and awards I
Okay.
can see you have done, you have already received them in your career. So try to add them, include them in your CV. Oh, sorry, at the time of introduction of yourself.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I'll do.
Thank you and all the best for your career. And please share
Yeah.
interview.
One more question I have.
Yeah.
So yeah, so currently I'm in my notice period. So due to some medical issues, I have resigned from my current organization already. So I don't hold any offer currently, and my notice period is a long 90 days. So what ways I can do currently to like get a job? And I'm preparing for the interview parallelly. So how fast I have to perform, and how to tackle this 90 days? Just
So how
thing I
many
want to
days
ask you.
did you mention? 20 or 30?
Which one?
The no-
90 days. It's 90 days.
90 days notice period is there. Hmm. So
Yeah.
90 days is there. So
So
how?
just now I have submitted it.
Okay. So what you can do is you can take 20 to 25 days, 3 weeks proper for preparation first, right? In these 3 weeks, what you can do is you can revisit concepts of Java, especially Java programming, right?
Okay.
Then Selenium concepts, right? Then Selenium challenges, and try to, answer the question like, let's say if someone asks you, what is your automation framework, right? So I think today also I asked you this question, but it was getting over. I think the limit of this answer was 2 minutes only. But when someone asks you the framework related question, you have to
Okay.
explain everything, like which code you are using, what is the programming language, what is the reporting thing, which are the listeners that you are using, which are the utilities, which are the libraries that you are using. So these are things you have to tell in a framework. The more you will tell about your automation framework, the more
Okay.
confident the interviewer will be with respect to your automation thing, right? So Selenium automation, Java, this is done. Then coming to manual testing. Now, coming to manual testing, you don't have to revisit all the concepts of manual testing, like uh, what is regression testing, what is retesting. That won't be asked to you. what would be asked to you is
Yeah.
how will you do the root cause analysis? How will you do the troubleshooting? How will you do investigation of some particular defect that happened? How will you collaborate if something like this happens? So these all scenario based questions will come more to you. Okay. So you can keep 1 week
Okay.
for those manual testing thing, 1 or I would say 3 to 4 days, but focus more on automation, Java, Selenium, collections, maps, tree map, hash set, builder, string buffer, all these things. And if you are applying for companies like Amazon or Netflix or Google, so if you are applying for companies with foreign estate kind of position, then you will have to prepare data structures as well, because you will be asked questions on data structures. They will give you 45 minutes or 1 hour, and they will give you two programs that you need to write or solve. It's 30 minutes for one program, like that. But if you are looking for
Okay.
some companies like TCS, Infosys, HP, Dell, HCL, then they will be asking you Selenium automation based questions, right? So questions on framework. Then try to learn about this Jenkins Jira integration as well. That is also very important.
Okay.
So give 30 days, 25 to 30 days on this preparation. But in the meantime, in these 25, 30 days, every day, 1 hour, search for jobs on LinkedIn and Naukri.com also. Update your
Okay.
profile every day on Naukri.com. Every day it should show them that yes, she's an immediate joiner. She will be joining. Not immediate joiner, like she's already on a notice period. So something like that. In LinkedIn, open your profile and mark that profile photo with open to work kind of thing. So recruiters will be approaching. Right? And at the
Okay.
end, don't lose hope. Be positive, right? Everything is achievable in this life, right? Nothing is impossible, and you have got good knowledge. Definitely you will be cracking more interviews, I'm for sure. But try to give more and more interviews, and in each and every interview you will get some questions. So jot them down and then analyze. Okay, so 10 questions were asked to you in XYZ interview. So how many questions were you able to answer? How many questions were you not able to answer? So what is the answer of those questions? And prepare accordingly,
Okay.
right? So this is how you will be,
Sure, sure.
you will have to analyze yourself. You will have to help yourself.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure.
Okay. And
Thank you,
please,
Rakesh, for the
yeah,
video.
please share interview questions with us. So we will be creating videos on them, and I'm sure you will be getting jobs in offers in various companies. So please do share success story also with us. Many of the people out there
Sure, sure.
would be getting motivated with your story for sure. Okay. And update the
Yeah, yeah,
LinkedIn profile
sure.
in your CV as well. Okay. That also you can do.
Okay.
Okay, then. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dharni, for coming on our channel, and all the best for your career.
Yeah, thank you, Rakesh.